I knew it would happen. I keep watching every Korean movie I can find, and god damn it, I knew I would find one just as bad as Time. Well, in all fairness, this isn't as bad as Time. I mean, Time wasn't even all that bad, it was just goddamn boring. So I'll get out, never watch that movie. I don't care what anyone says about it, it's terrible. Anyway, the guard post, basic story rundown is that a viral disease is causing violence in one of the guard posts that borders the the demilitarized zone in South and North Korea, and it is spreading among the men. The mix is the movie is a mix between Dawn of the Dead, The Thing, and, well, the movie R Point. This director is one of previous movies. And, frankly, this movie resembles R Point so much that I'm gonna say if you like R Point, this is just a bigger and better version of it. Frankly, I didn't care too much for R Point, and I equally do not care a whole lot for this movie. I like Korean movies, I like horror movies. Frankly, they do not go together amazingly well, in my opinion. Someone, if you know of a good Korean, like a really good Korean horror movie, please point me to it. Would love to see it. I appreciate all input. Anyway, the characters are about as lame as you can get. You never figure out who anyone is, largely because of the fractured storytelling, and I'm not stupid. I can follow fractured storytelling. I hated Memento. People say, oh, you just didn't understand it. No, I understood it. It was stupid. I hated it. Regardless, again, this is all my opinion. Don't flame me. But the characters, you can't really get a hold of when things are happening until near the end, because they cut back and forth between two different timelines and different points within either of those timelines without warning and without any kind of effect or indication thereafter, which makes it mind-bogglingly hard to keep track of people. Especially because, again, this movie has samey-looking people. And I'm not talking people are going to come in and criticize me saying, oh yeah, you just say that because so many people like Asian films have that, and you're probably one of them. No, I do not have that problem. But honestly, I can't tell the difference between like 3 people in this movie. They all look goddamn the same aside from their haircut. Ridiculous. Anyway, I'm sorry, I should really get down to it. The characters, like I said, you really don't get to know them. The only half or semi-decent one is the main infected in the present timeline. And even then, he really doesn't have a whole lot going for him. The main officer assigned to this in the present timeline to figure out what the hell happened to the last group of people is also pretty good. I'm blanking on the names at the moment, you'll have to forgive me. But I will say, the story, it isn't a terrible story, I just think it could have been told a lot better. Same with the characters. The characters aren't terrible, I just think they could have been handled better, perhaps if you cut down on the number of people. I realize that number of people is probably more realistic for a guard post, but it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to try and jam-pack that much character development into like an hour and 50-minute horror movie. It just doesn't work. Especially with the 2 timelines. You have twice as many characters as you're normally going to have. You're barely able to get the character development in for one of the groups. Action-wise, you're not actually getting a whole lot here. Most of this is intrigue, and I will admit I was intrigued. It's a neat concept. You don't really find out what the heck's happening until a good ways in. And I guess the confusion of the film does add to the intrigue, because you wonder what the hell is going on. Perhaps that's intentional, perhaps it's not. Either way, it really doesn't work. But, like I said, there is some amount of intrigue here. It was quite a neat take on the quote-unquote zombie genre, or ghost genre. This, it's not anything groundbreaking. The action, what it does have, is pretty decent. Mostly happens near the end. And actually, particularly the sequence right near the end, well, I won't spoil too much, but say the main officer assigned to the guard post is going around trying to cleanse the guard post, without giving away too much. Is extremely enthralling and really got a cat and mouse feel to it, which I think is handled extremely well. Particularly, I thought the end was pretty good. And again, I won't spoil that, you have to watch it for yourself, although this would not be at the top of my recommendation list. Anyway, I keep saying that and don't really have anywhere else to go. Frankly, I just don't have a whole lot to say about this movie. It is a bigger and better version of R Point. It is a horror action movie, although I would say there is quite a bit downplaying the action. There's more drama than anything else, which is not bad, but it doesn't handle that quite as adeptly either. If it handled any of these things decently, that would have been fine. There were some really cool makeup effects when the people get fully infected. I really wish they had played those up more. There's one scene where someone is infected very fast and quickly turns into one of these great infective costumes, and he looks absolutely amazing. And I realized it's probably lack of funds, lack of money. I realized that there was also a lot of fiscal and filming problems with this movie. I've read up on it, researched it, but regardless, I would have really liked to have seen more of that. If you're hard up for a Korean horror movie, this is a decent one. Nothing's really going to blow you away. The music's not that great. The acting is pretty bad. The horror is not really there. There's some intrigue and a decent concept, so that could propel you through it. Yeah, you know what? If you have the time, this is worth a watch, I guess. Don't expect a whole lot out of it. It's okay, not nearly as the best that Korea has to offer. Korea is one of the leading film industries, or leading emerging film industries, and really does deserve another look, but this is not the best example of that material. I'll probably get into those and other reviews, but for now, I would not really recommend The Guard Post, but if you have time, give it a watch. It's a Korean horror movie. You like Korea, you like horror. It's a time killer.